Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today I want to get into a topic where, in light of this recent news of Tory Lanez situation revolving around Megan Thee Stallion, which happened however many years or months back or whatever the case is, whenever that situation had closed out, I didn't follow it in any kind of way. But in light of that kind of situation going on, kind of want to bring into frame the climate that we're living in right now. But just to give a little kind of back reference, that situation right now is kind of going a little bit viral because at the time he was accused of, potentially assaulting Megan Thee Stallion. And then after the fact, he was pretty much, a lot of people thought he was innocent. Then he stood by his ground saying he was innocent. They ended up convicting him of the crime. No one really thought much into it because if you don't really follow that kind of entertainment space like I don't, then you just assume, okay, maybe this guy was innocent, but now they found him guilty. Whatever the case was, you didn't really pay any mind. Now it's coming to light that evidence was hidden. A lot of stuff was tampered with. A lot of things took place where it was to make sure this person went to prison without any real rhyme or reason. Or even checking to see that this person wasn't even involved, or at least not in that kind of capacity. And I'm just kind of covering this from the basis of that, just looking at the times that we're in. Obviously, you guys know on this channel, we try to give positive advice to people and as far as just living a better life and just the way to move in society. And this is one of those things where it's very important for people to realize how to move in society in the climate that we're in right now. And what kind of climate are we in right now? We're in a climate in which popular demand or popular opinion can literally cause you to, in this case, get yourself locked up. And many other cases, sometimes it might cause you to lose your job just because if your job is one of those type of jobs where they don't want the spotlight on them and they feel like you had the spotlight on you. And even if you're not in a situation where you are necessarily, you did anything wrong, they might just get rid of you off of that. And that's just the climate that we're living in right now. And so, really kind of hitting home to that it's important for everybody to kind of really watch who you move with, even when sometimes you think you're just going to go casually go out to have a good time. Maybe I'm not going to say maybe friends that you've known for all your life. Obviously, you're going to have known them all your life. But if you go out with say friends that, are kind of new to you, or, you're, whatever the situation might be, maybe you're hanging out with friends of friends or whatever the case is, or just any kind of environment that you might move in, just be very careful because we're living in an age right now where there is no sense of true law to a degree. Like I said before, if popular opinion deems that something needs to get shut down, it gets shut down. That could be, whether it's outward opinion on something all the way down to, like I say, your livelihood, depending on what the situation is. And so I just really kind of want to throw that out there. Like I said, in light of what's going on with this situation, this ends up being a man who was arrested and in prison. He actually got assaulted in prison. He was stabbed multiple times at the risk of losing his life off of a woman who said a lie, who pretty much just got away with just saying a lie. And this has always been a thing where we've seen that people can lie. And I've seen actually situations where you have even women who might lie about, being assaulted in certain ways, to even say the police for the purpose of avoiding something else that they might get in trouble for. I've seen that before firsthand. As far as people friends and family that I know who work in law enforcement that have actually told me stories like that, where somebody would say, oh, this happened to me, I was assaulted. And, even in say a sexual manner, and it come to find out it's just that they didn't want to get late coming home and have to deal with their parents. So it was easier to just say, oh, this happened to me. And so I just go to kind of say that to you. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not knocking anybody who's actually gone through anything serious or anything of that sort. But my point I'm just trying to make is that it's even worse now that we're in a climate where a lot of women feel like, because men don't really do this, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say everyone does this. It's very rare that you'll have a time where a man will say something that a woman did for the purpose of having her life ruined. That's very rare if we're being honest with ourselves. But we are living in an age where you'll have women who will do that because whether it's to not lose their popularity, whether it's to not look shamed, whether it's to whatever the emotional feeling is at the time. But I just think that it's something that people need to really look out for. And that doesn't even necessarily have to apply to a woman to a man. It could even be from women to other women who might be trying to get ahead, or whatever the case is. We're just in a time frame where someone can speak, especially if they're emotional and they're not thinking logically or fair or in a way that is respectable in society's eyes, and will turn around and say, I need the edge in something, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this. And the damage that can come from it could be literally to the point where someone could die, and they would literally not sleep. Would not lose a wink of sleep in regards to that. And you got to really think about that, because in this situation, Tory Lanez, not only did he almost get killed, but he was going to be locked away in prison for a very long time. And Megan Thee Stallion was living her life not caring at all that an innocent man was potentially innocent man. The way the evidence is looking now looks like he was completely innocent. And if it goes that route, then and all the evidence is revealed, it seems to be that that's the route it's going to go in. My point is to have a situation where an innocent man is in jail, almost gets killed, and this woman sleeps at night without a sound. It's has no care in the world. It's a dangerous place in society where that's where we're at. And I've even seen this on smaller levels when it comes to things like, say, divorce situations, custody situations, things where, like, maybe a girlfriend who has a kid with somebody and the guy, never sees his kid, the damage done from that, or like a person who gets divorced and the guy loses all this money, and the person doesn't lose an ounce of sleep knowing that they're destroying somebody's life. You start to realize we're living in a time right now where that is how it is. Like, there is no remorse in it, and it gets a little scary. And that's one of the major reasons why it's very important for people to watch how they move nowadays, more so than ever before, because what you're seeing is not only someone's mentality to do that, but you're also looking at a system. And this is the other half of this equation. It's very important to realize this and take this in. You're looking at a system, a legal system, in both the examples of what happened to Tory Lanez and also the example I just gave you about guys who might be dating and they have a child with someone and they separate, or they're married and they're losing their assets and they have children and they separate, whatever the combination is. The point is, when the law gets involved, the courts get involved, the fact that you can have these two parts of this equation. You can have a woman who's emotional, who says, this is what I want. I want this person to pay. And then you have the court system that would say, we will gladly break the rules or bend the rules or not see the full picture on purpose to help you achieve your goal to hurt this man. When you look at that, you're realizing the times that we're in right now is very dangerous times. And this is something so much more rampant than what people realize. It being revealed as a celebrity kind of case helps to bring a little bit of it to light. But this climate that we're living in right now is something that is so massive. Like I said, bring it back to the scale of a more lower level, domesticated level, not celebrity level. You have a lot of guys who are going through things like, say, custody battles, divorce battles when it comes to, their finances, their everything, their well-being, everything they established over the years, and someone being able to say, I want to see that person pay, not because they did anything wrong necessarily, but because I want to get over on them, and then the courts will go along with that. So there are regular non-celebrities who are going through the similar stuff. And I say all that to just say that that's the climate that we're living in, and it's very dangerous. And it's something that I think a lot of people need to become aware of. They need to understand how massive this is, how massive the ways that that's taking place right now, how massive that is, how widespread it is. So you don't think it's just something you see on the news and you go, oh, that happened, but that's not a normal thing. No, it's more normal than it is not normal. And it's important for people to know that, important for people to watch how they move and to set themselves up in a place where they're not vulnerable, because it is very dangerous times. With that being said, you guys, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and you guys be safe out there. Take care. I will catch you guys in the next video.